Hi guys, my name's Erica. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have my August wrap up for you. So I'm filming this so late. It is currently the middle of September, but I really wanted to still get this video out because I read all 4 and 5 star books in the month of August, and I found a new series that I absolutely loved and binged. So I really wanted to talk about it. I've just been so busy with back to school. I started working full time again. And also we're trying to get our house ready to put on the market, and all of my kids have started sports. So I just have not found like 1 second to film, but hopefully I can get back on track and film some content. So anyways, this is my wrap up. Let's jump into it. Like I said, I had all 4 and 5 star books. So that's just really, really exciting. The first book I read was a thriller. I was definitely in a thriller mystery type of mood in August, preparing for fall. And the first one I read was The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. This is a thriller about a woman who you find out just got released from prison, and she's trying to get back on her feet, and she answers this ad to be a maid at this house. And she goes there and gets a job, and everything seems perfect. And she's working for the Winchester family, I think is what it's called. And then slowly she starts to find out that it's not as perfect as it seems. And the wife of this family seems to be out to get her. And the husband seems to be flirting with her. And they have a creepy daughter. And then it just goes from there and things get crazy. It takes a direction I wasn't expecting at all. It was so entertaining and fast paced. So I really, really enjoyed it overall. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. It was a tad bit predictable, but when you read enough thrillers, I feel like that just is bound to happen sometimes. So I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I really, really, really enjoyed it. The next book I read was A Fatal Affair by A.R. Torr. A.R. Torr is one of my favorite mystery thriller authors, so this is her newest release. And this one follows a famous actor who's known to struggle with like alcohol and addiction problems, and he's also a twin brother, and his twin brother is kind of like the golden boy of Hollywood. And anyways, he's found, the twin with the addiction problem is found dead in their guest house with some random woman who's not famous at all, and nobody really knows who she is. They're both found dead, and it looks like it was a murder suicide. It looks like the twin murdered the woman, and her young son is missing. So it kind of follows that storyline, and it goes along, and the police are interviewing the other twin and his wife, and the book is very interesting, and it takes a really different spin than anything I've ever seen before, and it was really well done, I think. And the way that it goes, the direction that it goes in, is something I really personally like and find really fascinating. So I have to be very vague because I don't want to spoil anything. But overall, I thought this was really, really strong. Not as good as The Good Lie by her, which is my favorite one, but it was really, really solid and much better than her last release. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Like I said, just a little bit predictable in some spots. If you read enough thrillers, I feel like that tends to happen. But yeah, that's the only reason why I gave it 4 stars instead of the full 5. We get to probably my favorite book of the month, definitely my favorite book of the month, and a new favorite series of mine. If you are new here, I've been really, really getting back into young adult books. I definitely strayed away from them for multiple years, but recently I've been finding myself really enjoying them again. So I read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. For a while, I've been seeing this going around, and I was putting it off because I really didn't like the Inheritance Game series by her. And so I didn't really think I would like this one, but it's pitched as YA Criminal Minds, and that is like a perfect pitch for me. And it really, really is that. And I think this series is so much better than the Inheritance Games. So you're following Cassie, who is a natural. She has a natural ability to profile people. She gets approached by the FBI to join this naturals program with a bunch of other kids who have natural abilities, and they all work together to solve cold cases. And there's also a little bit of like a running storyline through all of the books that center around Cassie's mother, who was found, they assumed murdered, but they never found her body. And so all of the books kind of focus on that a little bit, while also focusing on individual cases that they're solving at the time. And it's amazing. I love all of the characters. I love how fast-paced it's written. I love Criminal Minds type of books and just crime and all of that. So this book was perfect for me, and I loved everything about it. Then I read Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I have a vlog on my channel where I read the first couple of books in the Throne of Glass series. If you want to go check that out, I will link it down below. That is a spoiler vlog, just so you know. But I ended up giving Heir of Fire 4 stars. I overall really enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And I had a hard time with the fact that we were in a new place now, and also introduction of some new characters with a new storyline. And those storylines haven't come together yet, and I'm sure they will at some point, but it just kind of took me out of the story. And I also didn't like being in the new character's POV. So I'm told I will grow to love that character, and I believe it, but I just thought Heir of Fire would be like so amazing for me, and it unfortunately wasn't. So now I'm holding out hope that Queen of Shadows will be. But yeah, so those are my basic thoughts on Heir of Fire. If you want to hear more and you've read the books, like I said, I have that vlog, but overall I gave it 4 stars, so not a bad rating at all, but it's not my new ACOMAF. So yeah. Then I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is really going around right now on BookTube and TikTok and all the things, and I enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars when I finished it, but looking back on it now, it's definitely more of a 4-star book for me. I enjoyed it overall. It's kind of like a slower paced historical fantasy, and it's about a magical typewriter, and this girl is writing letters to her brother who's off at war between these gods. And she's writing letters and putting them under her wardrobe, and then she is getting letters back from somebody that she doesn't know, and then the reader knows that it is her rival from her company that she works for, and it's actually him writing back, and he knows it's her, but she doesn't know it's him, and it's a romance. So rivals to lovers, and it was really well done. It's well written, and I liked most things about it. But the pacing for me was very strange. I felt like in the middle was where we should have been wrapping up the book, but then it continues on. Somewhere in the middle feels like something that should have happened at the end of the book to make it feel more high stakes, I guess. And yeah, the pacing just felt a little bit off for me. It did not feel like a fantasy at all. The fantasy is not very fleshed out, and I'm sure we'll get more of that in the second book. I'm not sure if I'm going to read that second book just because I can't find myself to care enough about it right now. So we'll see when it comes out, and we'll see what kind of reviews it gets. But right now, it's kind of a maybe for me. Like I said, it wasn't a bad book at all. I really enjoyed my reading experience. It is a slower paced book, and I do tend to like that. So yeah, it was good. I definitely recommend it if it sounds like something you're into. So I read Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is the second book in the Natural series. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. This one focuses a little bit more on, it's still in Cassie's POV, but it focuses a little bit more on one of the other characters and what they've gone through in their life. And yeah, it was fine. It just wasn't as good for me as the Naturals was. But overall, it was really good. Still recommend the whole series. Then my buddy read for the month of August was Beyond the Thistles by Samantha Young. Victoria picked this one. I do a buddy read every month with Victoria from Under Victoria's Spell and Autumn from Nose in a Book. And this was our pick. This is a romantic suspense book about a single mom who has to go to Scotland to kind of escape her ex who is out to get her. And while she's there, she starts getting some threats. So one of the security guards that works at the hotel that she works at is also a bodyguard, so he ends up being her bodyguard, and it ends up being a romance between the two. And I really liked it for the most part. I thought it was fast-paced. I liked the romantic suspense aspect. I think that's a genre I really like and want to explore more, especially because I love thrillers and I love romance, so having them together is really great for me. I just have very minor complaints about this one, and one, it's not that memorable. The romance just felt very basic. If I had to rate it on the romance aspects alone, I'd probably give it 3 stars. But like I said, I liked the more thrilling aspects of the novel a lot. And then this is such a minor complaint, but I feel like it's important for storytelling. The book takes place in Scotland, and there is literally not a single description of Scotland until probably 3/4 of the way into the book. That just felt like such a missed opportunity to me. We could have really set the scene for this beautiful Scottish setting, and it just didn't happen. If I wasn't listening to the audiobook where the male narrator had a Scottish accent, I think I would forget that we were even in Scotland. So that was kind of disappointing for me. So yeah, like I said, just not very memorable and little disappointing that we were in Scotland, but it did not feel like we were in Scotland at all. So yeah. What I read was the third book in the Natural series, and that is called All In. I don't have a copy of this one, but this is the third book, and it's just a continuation of the story. We get a new case kind of, but still working on what's happening with the bigger picture. And this is set in Vegas. We go to Vegas for this one, and that setting was so fun. I had so much fun with this one, and I gave it 5 stars. I had a reread, and that is Flock by Kate Stewart. I've been meaning to reread this one for a while, and I reread it with my friend Autumn, who was reading it for the first time, so that was super fun to like know everything that was going to happen, and for her to not know. Just a lot of fun. I gave this one 4 stars again. It's not my favorite in the series. I like Exodus better than this one, but I still really enjoyed this one. I love reading about Cecilia and all the things she gets up to. So I reread this one. I just reread Exodus this month, and then I haven't read The Finish Line yet, so I will read that one. And then Kate Stewart came out with a spinoff called Rainy Days or something like that. And I thought I was going to read this one, which is what sparked this reread. But then looking into it further, I actually don't think I will, because it seems like it's just a retelling from a different character's point of view. And I don't really like books like that. So I don't think I'll pick up that one. But yeah, so lots of fun. I can't say much about this series without giving it away, because like the whole thing is basically a spoiler. But it follows Cecilia, who her father has kind of been a deadbeat in her life, doesn't support her mom financially at all, isn't really in her life, kind of is a little bit, but not much. And then when she turns 18 and graduates, he makes her come work at his like factory to figure out what it's like to work. And then after she's done working there for I think a year, she gets an inheritance, and she only cares about doing this because she wants to give a lot of the money to her mom, because her mom spent her whole life supporting her without her dad's help, who was very wealthy. So she goes and lives at her dad's house, who's barely ever there, and is working in this plant. And then she meets some people, and it is a romance. And she starts to find out some more things about her dad, and it just goes from there. And I can't really say much more about it, but I really enjoyed this reread. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars again. It's not my favorite, but it's still really solid. Exodus is amazing. So lastly, I read Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the last book in the Natural series, and this just tied everything up, and I loved it so much. I loved the way it ended. I loved the direction it took. I did not see that coming from the first book at all. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I still gave it 5 stars, but I could see some people not liking the beginning of this book, because it seems like it's completely deviating from the plot in the beginning and going in a different direction that doesn't make sense. But then it circles back to the end and it all makes sense. So if you started the book and you're like, what's going on, stick it out, because it all makes sense at the end. But yeah, I give that one 5 stars too. So this might be my highest rated series. I don't really know, but 3 5 stars and 1 4 stars is pretty dang good. So I love this series. I think Jennifer Lynn Barnes has a duet too that I'm gonna try. And yeah, so that's all I have for my wrap up this month. All 4 and 5 star books. That's amazing. I will see you guys in my September wrap up in not too long, and thanks for watching. Bye.